What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna take a look at this 2022 Infiniti QX60. I just took this on a 1,700 mile road trip over the last week to Michigan and back. So let's get right into this luxury SUV. And the model that we're looking at today is the Sensory all-wheel drive, finished off in Moonbow Blue, and has an MSRP at $60,700. Underneath the hood, this 2022 QX60 is going to feature a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter 6-cylinder engine. This V6 pumps out 295 horsepower with 270 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to the 9-speed automatic transmission and sends all the power to all 4 wheels. Curb weight is around 4,600 pounds and it runs on an 18.5 gallon fuel tank. So you're looking at 20 miles per gallon in the city with 25 on the highway, and it can even tow up to 6,000 pounds. Overall length is 198.2 inches with wheelbase at 114.2. Width is 78 with height at 69.7 inches. And then now moving on to the exterior styling with the 2022 QX60. This is a very stylish looking mid-size SUV. We have a lot of really sharp lines as well as some smooth curves. We get a really cool set of LED headlights with a massive DRL up top cutting into the grille, and you see just how thin it looks to give it a muscular design. You can see a really sharp body line cutting around the side. You also get a nice gloss black trim piece. We get parking sensors all throughout the front bumper and a really nice front splitter down below. You can see the aluminum color on the farthest sides along with plastic black right in the center. You have a large opening with active grille shutters to improve efficiency when needed. You can see the sensor right in the center. And then we have a massive gloss black grille. You get a really large Infiniti logo right in the center with all chrome trim running around the top as well as the bottom. You get Infiniti all in the center as well. And it really does come together. The car stands out, has a very sharp and muscular appearance. And when we look at the hood, you have a really sharp line on the farthest side as well as right in the center. There's a lot of curves in this SUV you're gonna notice, but it really does come together nicely. Moving to the side profile, we get a set of 20-inch wheels in all 4 corners, finished off in a multi-spoke design with machined silver as well as a gunmetal gray. The plastic from the front end cuts its way around these front and rear fender arches, and then you can see the same thing in the lower side skirt. We get a chrome trim piece down below with Infiniti written out in the back side of it. And then we also get a set of 2-tone door handles. You can see body colored as well as chrome. Then we get a set of gloss black mirror caps. We get an LED turn signal as well as an integrated camera and then body color on the lower portion. There's also more of this chrome trim running around all of the windows, and I really like how the B and C pillar are all blacked out along with the farthest back pillar. Has a really cool look, kind of like a floating roof. We do get a full panoramic sunroof on top as well as some silver rails. The entire side profile comes together very nicely. I like just how stylish this Infiniti is going to look. You got a lot of those sharp lines, one that even cuts all the way through the side profile to give it a wider appearance. And it's also a pretty proportional looking SUV. You can see how that roof slopes downwards to give it more of an aggressive design, and I just love how they've blacked out all this glass. Moving in back, we have a shark fin antenna up top, an integrated spoiler, as well as a third brake light up top. The wiper blade is located on the bottom of that, and then we get a very nice set of LED taillights. They're very large. You can see how they're smoked out along with the red housings, connected with a gloss black trim piece. That is also where the integrated camera is, as well as a button to release the liftgate. You can see Infiniti is written out in the back along with the logo above that. We have all-wheel drive over on the left with QX60 on the right. Along the rear bumper, you're also going to see more of that plastic black trim. We get some body color as well as more of that polished aluminum color. All the parking sensors are located in the rear, and it really does come together to give it a stylish rear end. So there's a good look at the exterior with the QX60. It's a really stylish looking SUV. It does stand out, and this color is pretty subtle as well. We have Infiniti's key fob. You get the logo on the top. You do get remote start. We do have a smart key, so if I go ahead and lock it, all 4 of the door handles actually have the feature where all you have to do is grab it and it'll unlock it. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out this interior. This particular spec gets the sandstone leather interior. You're also going to see some black as well as silver accents all throughout it. If we take a look at the door panel now, we have some smooth black leather up on top with some nice stitching, an aluminum trim piece that cuts its way all the way to the release handle, and then a nice dark wood texture. We get memory seating. The sandstone is all throughout the center. You can see some padding with more stitching for the armrest, and you also get a good grab handle. We have all of your window controls, mirror controls, lock and unlock, and then part of the Bose audio system. There's a little bit of storage down below, and then we even get the Infiniti badge finished off in aluminum. The seats are all power control with all the controls on the left. We even get your massage button up in front. Then the sandstone leather has a really nice color. You get perforated in the center, a lot of stitching to give it a pretty classy design, and I really like how it leads its way all the way up to these headrests. We get a black steering wheel with a flat bottom design and some silver accents. And then now inside the QX60, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. This gets a full LCD digital display cluster for the gauges. You can see how your tach is over on the far left with your speedometer on the right, and then the center is all configurable. You can control that using all the controls on the left side of the steering wheel. So right now I can scroll up and down to see a few things on the home screen, then you can scroll left and right, see trip information that you can scroll up and down with. We have tire pressure and more car information that will pop up. Then we also have your navigation, audio settings, different safety settings for cruise control. And then on the far right, we have all of your settings. You can adjust all sorts of different things within the vehicle. And then you can also adjust the display. Tapping this button right here comes up where you can change the actual view. You can get a little bit more of a traditional layout. It basically makes the center screen a little bit smaller. So really cool to have two different ways to do this, depending on what you're going to want to see. We also get some audio controls over on the left side, and then all the cruise control settings are on the right with some Bluetooth integration. We also get paddle shifters mounted on the steering wheel, and then the left stalk has all of your headlight controls. On the far left of the steering wheel, we have your steering intervention button as well as the power liftgate, one of the air vents, some more of that leather as well as the dark trim. Then you can see some stitching running across the dashboard. It has a very clean design, and I love how that wood trim cuts its way all the way around. We have some piano black gloss right in the center with a nice silver trim piece with all of your air vents and then more of that leather color. And then taking a look at the screen itself, we have a very configurable screen, of course. In this home screen, you can scroll left and right and see a few different items that you can change. And then your information icon right here with a few different things you can adjust. Audio will come up, all of your connections come up here as well. Then we have settings you can go through, adjust all sorts of different things, and then back to your menu screen. We do get a shortcut for your camera button. You can just tap this icon. It comes up with a front view camera along with the top down on the far right. If I go ahead and put the car into reverse, you can see the backup camera on the left now, still with that top-down view. And then if I just toggle that camera icon, you can scroll through a few different views. You can have that side view as well as a full camera view, and then back to the home screen. Underneath that, we have two air vents, and then all sorts of controls for radio as well as climate. You can see your track and seat button right here, volume on off. You do get dual zone temperature, very easily you can adjust that. You can also tap this one for auto, tap that one to sync them. We get heated and ventilated seats, and I like how these are touch sensitive buttons. They do provide haptic feedback, which is a pretty cool touch. Fan speed is right in the center along with your different zones. Very clean the way everything is laid out. Underneath that, you can see your start stop button as well as drive mode. You can toggle this up and down. We have a customizable one, sport, auto, eco mode, and then you even get a snow mode. Behind that, we have the auto start stop feature, park and brake as well as the brake hold. Then this whole area you can control the screen. You have shortcuts for the menu and home, then you can easily adjust it and go from page to page. There's also a spot for wireless phone charging on the far right. You can also see USB ports down below. Then we have two cup holders, more of that leather color running through everything in the center with nice stitching. Pressing this button up, you can see a pretty large glove box with a few plugs down below that. And then taking a look at the glove box now, really large area as you would expect. And then one last look at the interior. I think Infiniti does a pretty good job just giving this a nice classy and elegant look. It's very simple to use in here. Use of materials is pretty good as well. And then up top we have that full panoramic sunroof that you can see. And then we have all the controls up front with dome lights and even a sunglass holder up front, and then your mirror. And then taking a look at the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, the door panel's finished off just like we saw up front, and we even get the addition of a manual sunshade. The seats back here are finished in all the same leather. You can even see the perforated design. This can seat 3 people. We also get storage on the back side of the front seats and all of your own climate controls with heated seats. You can see we have plugs down below that. And then the center seat, you can pull this and we get a nice armrest as well as 2 cup holders. On the side of the seat, we have 2 different buttons. If you tap this one, it'll unlock it, slide it forward and get it out of the way to give you a really good entry point into the 3rd row. You can manually push this back, and then if you grab this lever right here, this will fold all the way down and be nice and flat. So then sitting in the backseat of the QX60, so that side lever is also a recline lever, and you can recline these quite a lot. You can see the differences between these two seats, but this is pretty comfortable being back here. Of course, you have even an air vent up top with a dome light and a grab handle, so really nice place to be. And then in the front of the seats, there's a bar you can pull and slide these all the way forwards and all the way back. So certainly a nice place. And then that huge panoramic roof really does let in a ton of lighting. And even with the seat in the center position, not even all the way back, at 5'11", I still have plenty of knee room and leg room. And then now hopping into the third row seat back here, it's not too bad. We do get 2 cup holders on the side, along with a plug outlet, a USB, and then the headrests do fold up and down depending on how you need them. If I go ahead and hop over with this seat, I actually still get a little bit of legroom and knee room, so it's certainly not a bad place to be. There is a lever in the back. You can pull this and actually recline these seats at a decent level. You can see the differences between these two. So even for being not the biggest third row SUV, this is certainly practical. I could honestly sit back here for maybe a few hours on a nice road trip, and I do like how you still get air vents even in the third row, and we get a little bit of storage down below. And then moving on to the cargo area, you can tap the button on the interior or the key fob, or just press the one right there. It's gonna automatically open all the way up. As you can see, we have a pretty good amount of storage space even behind this third row seating. You can see it's about 2 feet of space, and I like how right in the center, you can grab this and lift it up, and we have a ton of subfloor storage. On the far left side, we do get a button for the left and right seat. From back here, I can just pull this headrest, lock it forward, and then pull this and get these out of the way. So really simple to do all this manually. You don't really have to worry about pressing buttons, but it really does give you a ton of cargo space even with everything folded down now. So I like how usable this is without being a crazy large SUV. Everything folds nice and flat and really does maximize storage space. All right, so setting off now in the QX60. Like I've put 1,700 miles on this SUV, so I think I know a little bit about what it's like to drive, but as far as driving this is really smooth. Now this is based off of the new Nissan Pathfinder, which I've done the same trip up to Michigan and back in the new Pathfinder. I noticed that the Infiniti is a step above in luxury. I wasn't quite expecting that, but this does feel very soft, very refined. It's just an easy, smooth vehicle to drive. I think the power plant is pretty adequate. You can get up to speed nicely and actually get really good efficiency out on the highway. We were getting around 25 miles per gallon, and it has about a 500-mile range. So it's a really great vehicle for long distance trips. These seats are nice and comfortable, fantastic view out of the windshield. I mean, you really have no issues looking around this SUV. And I like how with even the seats up and everything, you can really see a good view around. But like I said, really comfortable place to be. Armrests are in a great place. You get a lot of nice soft materials to touch. The armrests feel nice and soft, the leather on the steering wheel, the padding in the seat, everything that you touch just feels like a premium vehicle. I also really like how these are touchscreen buttons. They look like that. However, they're not just touchscreen to where if you touch it, they do something. You have to actually press it. So I think that is a really cool way to make it look classy and really simple to use. Getting up to speed with this, the 9-speed also delivers power pretty well. It doesn't seem to like stress the engine much. Like you can see, not even hitting 5,000 RPM. So I like how it doesn't feel like you have to use the entire engine. You can just drive this in a comfortable way, which I think for being the luxury version of Nissan, Infiniti is their luxury brand, you want to have it to be a relaxing SUV to drive. Suspension, really soft, absorbs the bumps nicely. Steering, super lightweight. And there's really no wind noise or anything. Even on bad roads going about 80 miles an hour on the highway, it is a comfortable car to drive. And I just really enjoyed how it's a relaxing SUV. You have so much space too, so it's extremely usable. And everything just kind of comes together. It's a nice step up from the Pathfinder. If you like the Pathfinder, but you want that extra luxury touch, I was just really impressed. And then the drive modes, in eco mode, basically throttle response is very limited. If you're trying to get up a lot of hills, I wouldn't necessarily leave it in eco, but around town and stuff, I like that just because it helps you save a little bit of gas. And then sport mode makes it a little bit more touchy. When you give it some gas, it's much more responsive. It'll ring out the gears a little bit longer. So I like how you do get a few different drive modes. And then of course the snow mode for any type of inclement weather or something like that. All right, so my honest thoughts now behind the wheel with the QX60. So like I said, drove it 1,700 miles. We've had it for about 2 weeks now. it has been a nice place to be. I feel like if you're looking for a luxury brand, but you're not really too interested in the crazy performance, you know, if you go to the European cars, you can get SUVs like this with 500 horsepower. So this isn't that. You know, if you're looking for the performance, obviously there's other cars, but if you're looking for kind of a normal, comfortable SUV that has a lot to offer without really stressing the bank out too much, I think this is a good option. For 60 grand, it's pretty average, I would say, for a luxury SUV. It's not really too out of the ordinary, and you get a good power plant. It's smooth to drive. You have all the technology features, things like that. So it's a hard SUV to pass up on. This is similarly priced to a base model Audi Q7, and quite honestly, you're gonna get more technology in this, better power plant in this as well. So I feel like, you know, those kind of cars, you're getting the brand name, yes, but you're kind of missing some things if you go base model. So for this, at that same price point, you're getting a fully loaded vehicle. So I like that aspect a lot, and it really was a comfortable drive. We did about 10 hours driving up there, and obviously another 10 hours coming back, and it didn't really wear us out. You know, 9 hours into it, we started getting maybe a little tired, but not even really. It was really a car that we could just drive and rack up the miles and just keep watching the miles go. So a really comfortable car to be in. The power delivery in this type of SUV I've also liked. It's smooth enough, quick enough, kind of really no complaints. I feel like as far as just a normal vehicle to drive, there's no complaints. It's very normal. The use of materials, the way the buttons work, everything like that. It's just a very familiar type of vehicle to drive where it's not confusing. Some of the European brands, they get a little too techy, a little bit too confusing on how many different ways you can configure things and just do so many things. This is that basic normal car stuff, but you get that extra luxury with a smoother ride than the Pathfinder, obviously, and then a really nice interior. So I've liked that aspect. Only real complaints with the car, I wouldn't mind maybe just a little bit more interior storage. The Pathfinder had a huge storage area over on the passenger side, which was super convenient. This one, the only storage is really right here, which is a wireless phone charging mat. And if you have a phone there, you know, you're not really gonna have other stuff there. But aside from that, you know, if you have things in your cup holders, you don't really have crazy amount of space for extra items like extra phones, food you're bringing, you know, if you're on a long trip. You do have a lot of storage underneath this console, which is nice, but, you know, one large item and it's kind of full. So I wouldn't mind just a little bit more storage space. Only other complaint, the lane keeping out on the highway could use a little bit more work. It does kind of wander just a little bit, so I'm not really the biggest fan of it. I didn't really use it too much. I like the radar cruise control though. I use that quite a lot, but just the keeping in the lane system could work a little bit better. But like I said, I mean, not really many complaints. It's just a comfortable SUV. So then ending thoughts, not really sure what else to wrap up with this car. Like I said, we drove it quite a lot, have a lot of seat time in it. It's just been a good vehicle to do what we did in it. If you want a normal SUV, but you want that extra bit of luxury without spending crazy amount of money, you know, you don't want to spend 80 to 100 grand on something like this. It's nice that there's Infiniti, you know, a brand that's kind of based off of the normal things, but gives you the extra luxury. So it's a cool brand for sure. So I think that is it then for the 2022 Infiniti QX60. If you enjoyed today's video, along with the road trip video, I'll have that one linked down in the description. Throw this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to stay tuned for plenty more content to come. But that is it, guys. I will see you in the next video.